which is surrounded by a whole host of animals here at Matlock Farm Park. It's all set up, ready for the weekends. You've got the Derbyshire Stones of Destiny, the Dinny Stones, which will weigh quite a lot. You'll have strong people picking them up, one in their left hand, one in their right hand. You've got a huge tiered seating area over to the far right-hand side. And we're actually taking shelter behind the BBC Radio Derby broadcast van and in between a Portaloo as well, because it's probably a little bit too blustery to get into the thick of it this morning, but we can observe from a distance what will be taking place. I've got strong people, Emma and John, alongside me, but first Lottie, who is from Matlock Farm Park. A couple of thousand people expected this weekend, isn't there?
Yeah, we hope so. It's our 8th year now and it always draws a really great crowd. It's such a fun day for everybody, a real spectacle. And what goes on in this arena is just a feat to behold. You know, we've got the 8-ton tractor pull, the Peak District Stone Challenge, the Great Stone of Destiny, tossing the caber, the log press. It's all going on. The athlete parade starts it all off, and then we also have Scottish dancers, the Piper band, and even a kids tug of war in the middle of the afternoon for them to get involved into, so they can have a go.
Why do you think we love it so much? Is it because for mere mortals like you and I, and we're stood next to two not mere mortals, two very, very strong people, it's just we couldn't do it?
Exactly. It's something totally unique, and that's what we absolutely love about it. I mean, we've got our usual events on through the year as well, and obviously all our animals that are here, animal activities and play equipment, but this, it's just so unique. It really is one of the best events, I think, for the region in the whole year.
Normally, when I'm here on a morning, without the wind, I can hear the chirps and the cheeps and the bars and the moos. Because the wind is blowing from side to side, it must be carrying the noise of the animals, but there will be animals still here on Sunday, won't they?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, we've got the sheep racing on. We have, I'm trying to think of the other things, we've got small animal petting, wallaby encounters. People like to wander around as well and feed animals as they go. It's just lovely. And we also have the big bubble man too. So
sorry, hold on. What?
The big bubble man. You don't know the big bubble man, Jack?
No.
So this is a guy who comes along. He creates bubbles the size of cars. He can actually get children inside the bubbles. There's big bubble monsters that he creates, which is like swarms of thousands of bubbles that just go through the sky. Of course, kids just love chasing bubbles. So there is everything here. There's the strength events, there's the animals, there's the playtime fun. Who's not going to love that?
Could the bubble man fit John into one of his bubbles? Because he is not the size of a normal chap. He's much bigger.
He is rather large. We can only wait and see, can't we? Let's see what Sunday brings.
Quite. Well, let's bring those strong people into the conversation, Emma and John. And Emma, you've got the microphone in your hand, so if you want to throw questions to anyone at this point, of course you can. But what are you expecting from this weekend, and what do you like about these strongman competitions and the Highland Games?
I like the challenge. I think that's the key thing, is it's trying to test what you can do, trying to better what you've done on the last time, because we've been back a few years now. This is our third Highland game, so it's trying to actually compete with ourselves as well as everybody else. But it's so much fun. That's the main thing, is the community is fantastic. Last year we had guys that had forgotten their shoes, and their other friends were saying, borrow mine, and it's everyone comes together. They want to see the best out of each other. It is competing within themselves, but yeah, they want to make sure everyone's at their best.
Daft question incoming, but how much do shoes play a part in Highland Games competitions?
For the tractor pull, quite a lot. The grip is going to be your main part. For the Dinny stones, for the women, that also is quite a big one, because the stones are so big. Sometimes we have to have thick walking boots because we're too short to actually pick the stone up if we don't have some extra height just to sort of get us off the ground. So a little bit, yeah.
Wow. Twiggy, I'm looking at John and I'm just taking in John's size. I'm sure you've probably got questions for him, no doubt, because like me and you, we are, I will say the phrase again, mere mortals. We couldn't lift these massive stones, but John can.
John, I've pulled many things in my time. But I've never pulled a tractor.
It's do you know what
laughing at?
It takes a certain amount of skill and size. Do you know what? It's really interesting, because it's often people like to use the phrase mass moves mass, but actually a lot of what it comes down to is kind of grit and determination, just pure resilience to keep pulling. So it's you get harnessed in, you get stuck in front of it. It's kind of like using a tow rope but the wrong way round. You're the tractor. You keep your hips and your body really nice and low to the ground, and they put a rope in front of you that you pull along with as well. So it's just about digging your heels in, digging your toes in, and just pushing away along to try to keep it moving.
Is it once you get it? Is the hard part getting it moving, but once it's moving, you can build that momentum?
Do you know what? Ordinarily, so we pull trucks, we pull, forklifts, there's guys who pulled planes and trains and anything that we're a bit of an odd bunch. We'll pull anything we can get our hands on, to be honest with you. But do you know what? I'd say with a tractor, it's particularly unique in the sense that, they are designed to not actually give momentum. They're designed to stick. They're designed to, the friction and they're designed not to slip. So actually, they don't like you gaining momentum.
I'm not being funny, mate, but I bet you're knackered at night, aren't you?
Yeah, do you know what I am? I often say there's no better feeling than after a big event session, lying on the sofa with a belly full of food and just hoping no one comes and talks to you because all they'll get is dribble.
What about the tossing, John, when it comes to the caber this is? Is it quite a lot of skill, or is it brute strength?
That's a good question, because year one I came in with an idea of just brute force, just give it full yeet and hope it goes as far as you can. But actually, quite quickly, it's absolutely about skill. Your main goal there is, you imagine, starting at 6 o'clock on a clock face, trying to throw the caber so the point lands in the middle of the clock face. The highest points are for the person who've managed to rotate it the way so that the top of the caber rotates towards 12. If you're not quite accurate enough, what will happen is the end of the cable will turn towards 3, or it will turn towards 10, and it will start going off, and that's where you drop the points.
These stones that you pick up, these great big stones, how the heck do you shift them?
Now, that's where I'm going to change my tune and go back to brute force. that's where you absolutely need a bit of brute force and just sheer willpower. I kind of hope that nothing pops off whilst you do it.
Emma, I've got a question for you, and I guess it's perhaps when you're both out shopping, do you almost treat it as a bit of a challenge, who can carry the most amount of bags from the car back inside?
Yeah, there's definitely an element of we're not going to let the bags win. We're not going to come back for a second trip. It's all going in at one go. For sure, yeah.
When we look at those stones there and the, I guess, uneven sides and the lopsidedness, it's not a case of lifting up a barbell. You've got the weird shapes and almost the unevenness of it all. How much do you think about almost the geometry and dynamics of it, if that's not a too profound question at this time of the morning? You can say no.
No, to be honest, there are sort of two ways you can lift those stones if you're going to pick up both at the same time. One is sort of straddling it so that you kind of have one either side of you. Now that you're going to have to think about the dynamics because they weigh different amounts. So the one's going to pull you forward. So you're going to have to work out how you're going to want to actually have your feet, where you want your balance point. Others like to pick them up side by side, which is an equal feat of strength in that it's going to pull you in slightly different ways. So you've got to think it through.
You see, I'm just thinking it through, Jack, and I've got long arms, right, guys? I've got massive long arms. I think that's probably why I'm half decent at golf. Would I make a good strong person because I've got long arms? Because I could get my arms right round those stones.
So I think personally, if you're going to be a strong man, right, so